What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. We have some major descriptions about an X-Men scene taking place in Avengers Doomsday that they are filming right now on the set. We have lots of X-Men names revealed for who's going to be in the roster in Avengers Doomsday in this new X-Men universe that we're going to explore. And we'll talk specifically about that X-Men universe, what it really is, and why it's actually being pulled to our Earth 616 specifically. But we do also have some descriptions of what each character is going to be wearing, and it sounds like they indeed are going comic accurate, which is a report that we've heard in the past as well. Now, we already know that they are doing some big battle at the X Mansion. We've seen photos of this already, and we have seen the destroyed Sentinels on the ground. And of course, while nothing is 100% confirmed, we have heard that this is going to be Doom attacking the X Mansion, and he will be the one controlling the Sentinels, which makes sense because Doom is the villain of Avengers Doomsday. So having Doom attack the X-Men is a great way for them to get involved. That also might make them very wary of the Avengers. Assuming Doom comes from a different universe than the X-Men universe, he would have just shown up out of nowhere and started attacking the X-Men. So if our Avengers go over to the X-Men universe, which we've heard might happen, then the X-Men might assume that they are also a threat and start attacking them as well, which is where we could get that Avengers versus X-Men scene. So we know that this specific scene in Avengers Doomsday is happening because we have seen the set already. And we do have some new set photos to go over today, but first we'll start with these character descriptions. Now take these with a grain of salt because it's coming from the insider James Mack, and he's reported on a bit, but nothing has happened yet to verify any of his reports because we obviously haven't gotten the movie yet. Although he does claim to be the person who leaked the script for Multiverse of Madness, which ended up being true. But still, like with all leaks, take it with a grain of salt, but he says that he has seen concept art from Avengers Doomsday. And we know that they have this concept art because they already had concept art for Avengers Secret Wars, and that leaked. We all saw the concept art for Avengers Secret Wars, and if you didn't, we'll put some up here on the screen, which shows God Emperor Doom on his throne, shows a new Black Panther, which is a whole other subject, Star-Lord with Vision for some reason, the Young Avengers, and a lot more. So the concept art for Secret Wars has already been leaked, so we know that the concept art for Doomsday exists because it comes before, and James Mack claims to have seen the concept art of the battle at the X Mansion and describes the costumes of each mutants involved. And this came in a series of tweets. Now, I will point out that Daniel RPK before in the past has reported that the X-Men will indeed be wearing comic accurate costumes, and Marvel has been doing that pretty recently in the MCU as well, giving a lot of characters very comic accurate looks. So in these series of tweets, he starts to describe certain X-Men characters, starting with Rogue. He says, Rogue wears boots, green clothes with black and white hair. Seems pretty comic accurate, but we're unsure about which Rogue this is going to be. A new one, or maybe Anna Paquin is going to return. We'll have to wait and see. He then states many insiders got Mystique right. She's in a white outfit with fabric between her legs, which is definitely a comic accurate look for her. Then he goes on to state that Wolverine isn't in his classic costume. He's in pants and a leather jacket, and his face reminded him of a Cavill style Wolverine, the Cavalrine. Now this might be a completely different Wolverine than the one in Deadpool and Wolverine, because it could be a different universe, but even if it is the same universe, there is still a Wolverine alive in the 10,005 universe. And the Wolverine from Deadpool and Wolverine isn't originally from the 10,005 universe, but that's where he ends up with Deadpool and X-23 at the end of the film. So that universe should have two Wolverines now. So this could be describing the other one. He states Magneto in red armor and a completely purple cape, his red helmet with purple details. Seems about right. He says Nightcrawler in all black clothing with red details using 3 fencing swords, so one in each hand, and his tail, I'm assuming. Colossus in red and yellow clothes with red boots. He will have a top knot, which is an interesting choice there if they go with that because Colossus typically has the same haircut. He continues, Gambit in a black shirt, purple pants with black details, chains around his neck, and a hooded blazer. I think I would definitely prefer Channing Tatum's Gambit suit from Deadpool and Wolverine, but we'll see what happens. Storm with an all-white outfit and cape. I hope we see that. Cyclops in classic yellow and blue, and I also hope we see that. For Bobby/Iceman, he states, I don't know how to describe it. The art I saw him in is normal, just in ice form. Angel in red clothes with a white X on his chest, Psylocke in a sexy purple outfit with a red scarf around her waist. And if they want to take a page from Marvel Rivals' book, yeah, that would probably be smart. Jean, classic clothes like X-Men 97, which will be cool to see. As for Xavier and Beast, they don't appear in the artwork. I assume they're inside the mansion while the X-Men are outside. And then he states, Magneto seems to be leading the team outside the mansion, giving the impression that he turned everyone against the Avengers. The only ones who didn't follow him appear to be Xavier and Beast, likely because they know Monica better. Now that last part I'm not really sure about because we've actually heard reports in the past that Magneto was actually going to be the one to fight Doom. But clearly a big part of this scene with the X-Men is going to be from the Marvel's post-credit scene where Monica Rambeau ends up in that X-Men universe where we saw Binary, who is her mother but not in that universe, and we saw Beast as well, and he mentioned Charles Xavier. And Monica is kind of going to be a key plot element based on reports that we've heard in the past from Alex Perez. We've heard that Captain Marvel's main objective right now in the MCU is figuring out how to get Monica Rambeau back to her universe. Unbox PhD, the person who was leaking all of the set photos via their drones, has also just showed us a new set photo of a house claiming that Captain Marvel's ship is about to arrive there on set as well. And that lines up with the previous leak that we've heard where some of the Avengers, including Captain Marvel, do go to their universe in search of Monica Rambeau. So that could very well happen. Alex also mentioned, and this was a while ago, several months ago, that the plans were that he knew of were for Monica to be the reason that the X-Men universe and our universe are colliding, which does make sense based on what we learned in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. When somebody from a different universe shows up to yours, it confuses and destabilizes the universe, and that causes an incursion between two different universes. So again, based off logic that Marvel has already established in Multiverse of Madness, that does make sense. But he did also state that they don't know this. They don't know that Monica is the problem. She just wants to get back to her universe, and they do know that something is happening, but they kind of think it's an invasion. And if Dr. Doom really does attack them, which it seems like he's going to, it makes sense that they think they're being invaded by a different universe. And again, that could be why they could be so hostile to the Avengers showing up. And of course, I'll always mention it, give us that Avengers versus the X-Men scene because I want that to happen. Now, like I mentioned, there is a new set photo of a 1960s style Luke Cage house. That's what it's classified as. However, I wouldn't get your hopes up of seeing Luke Cage because I think that name is just a placeholder, much like we have seen Annie Reynolds' house. She's the mother of Bob Reynolds or Sentry in the comics, but I don't really think she's going to show up and they're going to devote an entire scene to her. So I think they are just placeholder names because there's so much going on in Avengers Doomsday. I really don't think there's enough time to go into individual character stories who we really haven't met yet, but we'll have to wait and see. These images are provided by The Sun, and we've heard that Captain Marvel's ship will arrive soon on set. So who knows what this really is, but leave us your best theories in the comments down below. And as far as what universe the X-Men actually are in, we don't have a classification yet, but Alex Perez did report again a few months ago that this universe is basically going to be treated like the original X-Men universe, but they'll treat it like they treated Daredevil Born Again. They're not really mentioning the past, even though the past did exist. Some of these characters are still there, but they're not exactly going to acknowledge it. But from our understanding, it's the universe that kind of branches out after the events of Days of Future Past. So it'll either be that universe or a variant of that universe, which is pretty similar. And that's how characters like Jean Grey and Mystique can show up. So a lot happening right now on the set of Avengers Doomsday. Regardless of what happens in Avengers Doomsday, we know we're getting this huge X-Men scene taking place in their universe. The Sentinels are going to be involved, so we know it's going to be a pretty epic scene. But go ahead, let us know all of your thoughts about this new information in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news, rumors, or leaks. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.